Damn, Kristee, back at it again with another freaking semester at sea video. Okay, yeah, sorry, I've been living under a rock, aka on a ship for 4 months, so me trying to catch up on pop culture references is kind of a fail. I'm back to do a Q&A and kind of just a wrap up of my semester at sea experience because I'm getting so many questions and everyone wants me to do like a looking back video. I'm not going to take a whole bunch of time just to explain what semester at sea is and studying abroad blah 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 because I have a whole video on that I filmed before I went, so I'll link that down below. All of that information is still relevant even though I hadn't been on it at that point, but this is just going to be a follow-up. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch that first and then come back here and see how I felt about it. I asked on Twitter, this is always the fun promo, please follow me if you want to be included in anything like this in the future, or if you just want to like tweet me questions afterwards, I'd be happy to answer them. But for now, I am ready to film my Q&A, so let go. The number one question I got, well, one of the number one questions I got when I asked you guys to send me questions is, did you ever get seasick? The answer is no, I did not ever get seasick personally, which I'm very thankful for. Especially the first couple days on the ship. I vlogged during this time. You can check out my vlog channel, another shameless plug. It was very rocky and I was like, okay, is the whole ride gonna be like this? Like, this is a little more than I signed up for. But then it calmed down after like a few days. So it was just when we were leaving San Diego, the weather was kind of bad. So that's why it was like crazy. One side effect I did have of being on the ocean that wasn't nausea was I got really, really tired. And that happened to a lot of people. Like, I slept so much and I just wanted to take naps all day. And just the constant moving just makes you more drowsy, like so much. Brianna asked, which is another question I got a lot, what was your favorite country you got to visit? I feel like it's answering like, what's your favorite child? Like, you can't really. Every country was such a special, exciting adventure and it had its own merits and ups and downs. And it's really hard to compare countries because they're all vastly different cultures and histories and people and everything like that. Okay, I'm gonna say the country that I guess surprised me the most, that I loved, that I didn't really have that many expectations for, and that was Morocco. And it was our last port, so I guess like in the back of my mind, it was the last port, so it was just not a priority to me. I didn't research it much. I was too focused on like what was coming next. And then finally it's like, well, we're going to Morocco, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I honestly loved Morocco so much. And I also really, really loved India. Like, I really want to go back there because I feel like I didn't see enough of it because it's such a huge, diverse country that I didn't get to see that much of. Alina asked, did you ever get lost on the boat? And definitely the first week or so was so hard to like get my bearings and figure out where the heck I was on the ship. And in hindsight, in like cruise ship terms, it really wasn't that big of a ship at all. But it felt huge when you had no idea where you were going ever. I did get lost a few times. You can even see in my, I think, adjusting to ship life vlog, I was literally walking around at like 6 a.m. trying to find a way out to the deck and I couldn't figure out. I had no idea where it was. But yeah, you eventually get used to it and then you realize how small the ship is. Kim asked, how much money did you bring for each country and what kind of currency did you use? Like, did you use cash or were you able to use card and things like that? Something I did, which I would definitely recommend, is I ordered cash online. There's a company called TravelX that I used. That's what my bank recommended. And basically you can just order any currency. Well, they didn't have every country. I don't think they had Myanmar or India. In countries where we had a better exchange rate, I got a little less money. And then in countries where it was a little more expensive, like Japan, I got a little more money. So I didn't even get more than $30 in any country, I think. You don't absolutely have to do this because I'm pretty sure every place has ATMs like near the port and it's really easy to get cash. But it is hard to find places that'll take card in some places. But definitely bring a solid amount of American cash because it's gonna be easier sometimes to do a currency exchange instead of like an ATM. And then also some places will take American money, so you can use that a little bit. Another question from Kim, you're on a roll, kid. Did you like going on field programs more or traveling on your own? Semester at Sea has set field programs, so you could like buy a day trip or even a whole week-long trip where they get you hotels and everything and you don't have to plan anything, you just go with them. I think I did like 3-day programs and I did 2 overnights. So I did 1 overnight to the Taj Mahal and then I did 1 overnight on a camel trek. To be completely honest with you, I wasn't a big fan of the whole field program thing. I am really someone who likes flexibility and you don't have any flexibility when you're in a giant group of semester at sea people. And I just had a better time when I was like on my own with my small group of close friends, like able to do whatever we wanted. Like we could go on random adventures on our way to, you know, see the Shwedagon Pagoda or something like that. And it wasn't like we were bound to a schedule with all these people and everything. But I do know that some people loved field programs and like that's how they like to travel because it's so organized. You don't have to stress about planning, like it's really safe, things like that. So, you know, there are trade-offs, but personally for me, I am glad that I didn't do a lot because I like traveling on my own and like being able to do my own thing. Camille says, can you talk about financial aid, please? And I know this is a big question for some people because it is expensive and every school is different. So you need to like find out at your school, like talk to them, talk to your study abroad office and see how that works. You could apply for scholarships maybe through your school. I don't know if many schools do this, but my school had a semester at sea scholarship. I missed the deadline for that. And then next semester at sea, the program itself offers scholarships and work study and financial aid. So you can apply through them, and like my roommate had a journalism scholarship. So she got a little bit of money and then she wrote an article for every port. So there's things like that. You can do work study where you have a job on the ship and you go work there every day that we're at sea for a couple hours. There's a lot of scholarships available and like I think they know it's really expensive and they want as many people to be able to go as possible. So don't completely rule it out just because you think it's out of your price range because you could get a really good scholarship. Hannah asked, did you ever get sick of being on the boat? And I got this question when I did my routine, everyday routine on the boat. And honestly, I didn't because your life is so crazy when you're in port. I mentioned it in that video. And it's honestly like a salvation when you make it back to the ship after, you know, not knowing where you're sleeping and then ending up like on a straw mat in a hut in Myanmar or something like that. In the beginning was really tough and I did kind of get sick of it because you're on the ship for a week, you have 1 day in Hawaii and then 12 days until you get to Japan. So that was when it was really hard because I was still trying to adjust to it. And honestly, I'm just gonna like admit this to you guys, I have a hard time adjusting to things. Like I hated college in the beginning and I know some of you are probably shocked by that because I absolutely love college and like freshman year was the most amazing thing ever. But for the first like 2 or 3 weeks, I was just so unhappy. I didn't want to be there. I was like so annoyed with everything and I like considered like stopping and freaking moving to LA and being a YouTuber, but then I didn't do that, so thank God. I don't like to open up to people immediately, so when everyone's like first day on the ship has all their best friends and they're like, oh my god, ship buddies for life, I'm just like, please stop. But I knew I was gonna be like that and like even still like it was so hard. So in the beginning, especially when you're on the ship and you can't get off and you're just like, what is happening? That's when it's the hardest. But once we got to Japan, like everything was great. I don't want you guys to think that it's always easy and it's always like the most amazing thing in the entire world, even though it is. But in the beginning it was definitely hard for me and it's a challenge. Like you are putting yourself so far out of your comfort zone. And I'm really glad that I did though. Like it was the most rewarding thing ever and I had the best time of my entire life. So yeah, I don't regret it. And it wasn't that hard being on the boat after that because you're so happy to be back at the boat after being in a port for a week. Sabrina asked, what are the sizes of classes and how many people? So in my classes, I'm pretty sure most classes were like 20 people, which is a great class size. It felt like the perfect size, you know, the professors knew your names and it was good. And then you have a global lens class, which is your like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like everyone has to take a global lens class and there's like 4 or 5 of them. So those are the bigger classes where it was like 60 or 80 people. Vicky asked, what made you choose semester at sea and not a traditional study abroad experience? So this is a good question because when you're choosing to study abroad, it's a big decision. You have a lot of programs to choose from. And semester at sea is definitely not the traditional one. I could get on a ship and live with a bunch of college kids and go around different continents and see places and corners of the world that I never would have the opportunity to on my own. Like, I'm gonna do that. And it's scary. It's, you know, it's definitely a big leap from staying at a home campus in California. But for me, like I didn't want to stay in one place and I wanted to have that constant change and being thrown into new cultures and societies and things like that. And that's what semester at sea offered, and like that's why I'm so glad that I did it, because that's what it was, constantly something new and constantly like we woke up in a new country every week and the opportunity to explore like new cultures and people, and it was unbelievable. So how did you plan each port without internet? And this is definitely a challenge. Let me explain the internet situation because I got other questions about it too, really quick. So there is internet to a very small extent. Like I made it sound like there's no internet, you're completely like cut off. But the ship does have internet, you know, because it has like a satellite and everything. Like they have one small list of free websites, and it's things like Wikipedia, Washington Post. There's like a citation helper, like things for classes. Certain teachers can request, you know, websites they want to be free and things like that. Then you have your semester C email account you can access. Planning ports, they also, okay, this is a really good resource that I didn't really mention, is they had a public drive. So it's just like a server that you can connect to on your computer. And it's just, it looks like you're on a like desktop kind of, where it's like a bunch of folders, and each professor has a folder and they can put anything they want in there. They can like put videos you have to watch for class, or like homework assignments, or we had this website called Moodle that was free that we used to like turn in assignments and things like that. It was kind of like Blackboard. And so planning ports, things they put on the public drive, they put resources for us to plan, which was awesome. So like they had PDFs of every Lonely Planet, which is a travel resource, every Lonely Planet book for all their country we were going to. And then they had like free websites like Wiki Travel we could use to plan. A lot of the time I did just have to email my mom, and she was my literal travel agent. Like, bless your soul, Mom, I know you're watching this, thank you so much. Melissa asked, was it hard to keep up with schoolwork when you got to travel and see all these places? I'd want to explore and not do work. Ha, yes, so hard. You have no idea how like challenging it was to try and go from, you know, skydiving in South Africa one day and then the next day coming back and like having to take a quiz on public policy, you know? But the professors feel it too. Like I had to, in the beginning of the voyage when we just had straight like school days all the way till Japan, I had to write like summaries of all my readings for this one class. And then after Japan, our professor emails us, and he was gonna have us do that the whole semester, right? And then he emails us after Japan, he's like, yeah, we're not gonna do that anymore because like I don't have time to grade these. But the school days are so condensed into this very strategic schedule because of, you know, the ship days versus school days. So you kind of have to force yourself to get back in the mindset for the couple days you're gonna be on the ship, just to like put your all into school while you can before you go off into another country, because like it is such a condensed lesson plan, I guess. So it's hard, but everyone feels it. Everyone has that motivation problem, but you kind of just like motivate each other and like get your work done, and then you're ready to go to Vietnam. Question I'm gonna end on, because I'm gonna hate myself for editing all of this footage, is, was semester at sea from Lala? Was semester at sea what you thought it would be like, or better? I can't put these experiences into words, and I don't want to say it was like exactly how I thought it would be, but it was honestly better, and like it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself at this time of my life, and like I'm so happy I did it. You can have like all the expectations in the world and know exactly what you're gonna do and like go into it like knowing how it's gonna be, and like you know you're gonna have the best time of your life, blah blah blah, but you will still exceed your expectations, and you will still have moments of awe where you're like, I can't believe this is my life. A lot of people have asked like overall would I recommend it, and 100% yes, I would recommend it. I feel like I'm literally like a paid sponsored person for semester C because I never shut up about it, but it's true. Like it's such a unique opportunity that so few people are able to seize, and I just think if you're able to do it, if it works out in your favor at that time in your life, like 100% go for it, and like you will never regret it because it'll be like the best 4 months of your life so far. Shout out to everyone who led me to this place in my life. Shout out to my parents, mom and dad, you're the best. They were so supportive of me the entire time. This concludes my semester at sea study abroad Q&A. I hope I covered everything. I covered like cost, ship life, choosing what to do in port, things like that. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments below or on Twitter or something. If you want to see all my pictures from the trip, check out my Instagram, because I never want to post another picture in the United States just so I can keep looking at all my pictures from those trips. You can watch all my vlogs. I've vlogged in every single country. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this helped you. If you're considering semester at sea, I'm so jealous of you. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could. I'll see you in my next video. I swear I'm not going to do semester C videos the rest of my life. Like, I will have other content up ASAP, so don't go anywhere. Bye.